Katherine Hunka, how are you?
Hi, Matthew.
Welcome to Live with Oboe Windfree.
Yeah, it's a great honour.
It's so nice that you took the time to do that. That's still really lovely of you. So, how's everything going over in Ireland?
Yeah, well, of course, for musicians, it's a strange time. That's the understatement of the year.
Yeah,
So I suppose I'm not enjoying the online life of a musician as much as I'd like to be enjoying it. I
yeah,
think that music relies so much on the atmosphere in the room
yeah,
and that kind of the stuff that isn't said, the stuff that you just feel. That's what it's all about, isn't it? And
yeah,
so we can't do that at the moment. It's like having a limb cut off.
yes,
When we can't do that.
yeah,
So what we do is an enormous compromise, isn't it?
yeah,
But of course, it's not. It's better to do the compromise than to do nothing at all.
absolutely, yeah,
But I can't wait to be in a room with musicians and an audience again.
yeah. Do you think that feeling of what happens in the room is particularly special to the ICO?
I don't know. Of course I think it is, because I think that there's something about the ICO which where everyone's open. And
Hmm.
that isn't always the case in every orchestra because there's a lot of fear in musicians,
Hmm.
fear of messing up and fear of letting down your colleagues. And in the ICO, we allow ourselves to to be human. So
Hmm.
then um, there's this lovely sort of openness, and let's all just be our best selves, and let's help each other to be our best selves,
Hmm.
which I think is quite unique.
Yeah,
And so then of course that sort of looking after each other on stage can happen
yeah.
because we all have to make each other look better, right?
Look better or sound
We all have to
better.
make each other look as good as we can.
Absolutely, absolutely. It is. I agree. Really, I think there is something very, very special about in the room with the ICO.
Very, very kind.
Yeah, and the way that we make music together
Mm.
is something
Yeah,
very, very, very
as
special.
the leader of the orchestra, I would consider that my main role
Oh, right,
is
okay.
is keeping that very thing.
Yes.
Keeping, I don't even know what to call it, but let's call it the ICO thing,
Yeah.
which I hope happens in other places.
They have their own thing. But do you
But
think?
it's something we've cultivated.
So do you think that it's part of the spirit of the orchestra that was there before we were,
Mm.
and it's
Absolutely.
and it's kind of like I read your article,
That's right.
and
I wrote about this very thing
yeah, yeah, exactly,
for
and this
for
but
the arts desk.
yes, and but also what you wrote was about how the Irish culture is about telling stories and passing on stories,
Mm.
and I wonder if there's something about the tradition of kindness in the ICO that is
Mm.
passed on like a story.
Very possibly. Well, when I very first joined the orchestra, then it hit me this because I couldn't put my finger on it, and it made me slightly kind of wrong-footed initially because in London it's the atmosphere at work is very much more sort of, what's the word? You go to work, you go into your job, people are lovely to each other, but there's not this softness in the same way. And of course, that's very much here in Ireland the case. That people are very much very open to each other and very kind to each other, and that translates to the music.
Yes, yeah,
So I found myself in a place where as a leader I could really learn my role. I could muck up, not many times, but hopefully not. But
yeah,
I could learn.
yes, yeah. Because also from a wind player perspective, I totally agree with that feeling, but also there isn't a problem with going wrong. There isn't a problem with making a
No,
mistake. There's a
no.
problem. But also there's a problem if you don't try hard enough.
Yes, that's right. So everybody has to be fully invested.
Yeah.
These are the unwritten rules of the ICO, aren't they?
Maybe we
Everybody has to have taken their hearts out and given it to the cause.
Yeah. But,
And be fully there. But at the same time, if you have everyone makes mistakes, and I have to tell our audience that I make a few every concert.
yeah.
But if you're in the right place and you have the right people around you, then nobody would have a clue.
Yes. Yes.
But if you're trying not to make mistakes as an artist, then it's incredibly stifling, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And you can't be creative at all. If you're trying not to make mistakes, you can't create anything.
Yes. Yes. And so how does that creativity, that spontaneity, how does that translate to recordings and when we're trying to be perfect? How
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? You know, because all the recordings of the ICOs sound spontaneous, don't they?
Yes.
So that's and we try not to do too many hundreds of takes. But how to when you're in the recording studio, or do you mean right now, recording at home in the sitting room?
Well,
trying to come up with something creative in your own living room.
Yeah,
that's a challenge.
Yes, it is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me quite frantic, to be honest.
Yeah.
I kind of have to get myself into a different head.
Yes. Yeah.
Putting on nice clothes helps. You need a bit of adrenaline.
You do, don't you? Yes. Yeah.
How to get adrenaline in your own house?
Yeah. Dress up.
Lipstick. I can highly recommend it.
Could you pick a shade for me? I mean,
absolutely. I'll send it to you in a post. But a bit of lipstick makes me feel like I'm going somewhere.
Yeah,
even if it's to the living room.
Yeah. What about heels? Because Katrina and her heels. I mean,
yeah. I can't play in heels.
Can't you?
But Katrina always looks like she's dressed up to go to a wedding. But she's just, every day she's stunning, and it fascinates me.
How does she pull it
off? I don't do that.
Yeah.
You can do recordings in barefoot in your own living room. You don't have to wear shoes at all.
Yes, or even in pajamas.
Exactly.
In my case.
That's right.
Yeah. I don't know if people know, but we've been recording little snippets of the opera that we were supposed to be doing.
That's right.
And so how's that been, Katherine, for you doing that?
Well, I've never done anything like it. You see, there's a very good reason why we rehearse. And because through those hours, the whole thing comes together, right?
Yeah.
And so we don't have that luxury. So our lovely conductor, Peter Whelan, writes down the rehearsal points on a piece of paper, and we mark them into the part. And then the fun bit starts, where you go to record your track. And like normally in an orchestra, as I've just said, sometimes you might make a small error, but you can't when you're recording on your own.
Yes.
And I absolutely can't, because I have to go first.
Yes.
So I basically play the part for my colleagues. And it can make you quite paralyzed, because you listen back and of course there's something you don't like.
Yeah.
So I try not to do more than eight takes.
of 2 minutes.
And I get to number 8 and I'm kind of, I don't know, my children are hearing me swearing through the walls.
Yeah.
Then I think, okay, this is the last one.
Yeah, okay. So it's up to your children when they've had enough.
But I think that what's going to happen is that when it's all put together and we all get to see the like end result of this, I'm going to be so proud to have been part of this.
Yes, yeah.
But usually we start to get a sense of that in rehearsal.
Yes, exactly.
But we're not going to have that feeling until the very end. It's like weeks and weeks and weeks of work until we're allowed to see the beautiful chocolate cake we made.
Yes, absolutely.
That's quite new, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It really is. Yeah. We're running out of time, unbelievably.
Oh, that's a shame.
It goes so quickly, but thank you very much, Katherine, for taking the time. It's really nice to see you, of course.
So nice to see you too.
And I look forward to seeing you again in person in Ireland.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Oh,
imagine.
Just, it's...
in real life.
Soon. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, thanks ever so much, Katherine. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Matthew.
Bye.